Hey, what is going on, guys? It's DK back at you with another video here to break down the two-game NBA main slate here on Tuesday. A couple things before I can get into the video. If you're new to the channel, my name's DK. I make videos daily talking about NFL DFS as well as NBA DFS. Also, I'm doing a weekly giveaway where all you have to do is leave a like and a comment in the video. That's one entry into the giveaway. Max one comment though per video. So it starts with my Monday Night Showdown video that I uploaded a few days ago. We'll go throughout the week. We'll end up my Monday Night Showdown video at the end of the week. So however many videos I've uploaded for the week, you can end the giveaway that many times. So again, say if I have like 10 videos uploaded for the week, you can end the giveaway 10 times. And the winner receives $20 PayPal for myself. But with that out of the way, let's jump into the video. So first, let's look back at my lineup here from Monday. So Monday, there's always one, guys, right? There's always one. This is my final lineup here with Brogdon, Brad Wanamaker, Jaylen Brown, Larry Nance, Cantor, Trae Young, Anthony Davis, and Tony Bradley. So first, before we get into talking about my lineup, the centers I liked on this slate: Karl-Anthony Towns, Jarrett Allen, who else? It was Cantor, Tony Bradley, and Bam Adebayo. Those five. If you guys watch my live stream, those are the five I was on. I liked Whiteside, but the news that came out with like him potentially being limited got me off of him. So all five of those starters were great. Hopefully you guys had a good night as well. The one downside obviously here was Brad Wanamaker. Now, he didn't end up starting. I think a lot of people expected him to start at the point, but they brought him off the bench. I still wasn't as concerned because he was playing already 25 to 30 minutes a game before Kemba got injured. Now, he just had his worst game of the year. He had a shot of 0 of 8, 0 of 9, got 4 fouls in foul trouble, and just played terribly. So yeah, I think we got a bit unlucky there. I think that's an outlier game for him on the bad side. But yeah, what can you do? Brogdon was pretty solid there for 6K. He was really popular right in this tournament, 75% owned. Jaylen Brown, I talked about him, Tatum, Marcus Smart even. I got onto Smart more with him starting on point guard, but still didn't make my final lineup. Larry Nance, I got onto him once Kevin Love got rolled out. I talked about that. Enes Kanter, again, him, Tony Bradley, Towns, Bam, and Jarrett Allen, who just went off. Those are the five centers I talked about really liking. Trae Young was low owned, 57 fantasy points, and then Anthony Davis there at 9.7 for 53 is not terrible. So it looks like it's gonna be a pretty solid night, right? $85 in this tournament. Could have been a huge night. I feel like I always say that. There's always one guy. Wanamaker was the one guy tonight. So hopefully, I avoid one of those landmines here for this two-game slate for Tuesday. So let's look at the over-unders and the spreads. They're actually both out right now. So Clippers-Mavs is sitting at 227.5 with the Clippers favored by 2. And then Wizards-Nuggets at 227.5 as well with the Nuggets favored by 9.5. So there's a little bit of blowout risk in that second game. But let's just jump into it. So prices. At the top is Jokic, 9.8K. And he is just... he's such a frustrating player to watch sometimes because I talk about with him. Like, there's games where he will just dominate and take over, and there's games where he'll just take off. Like, he'll just take the night off. And that game against Phoenix in a great spot, he took the night off. Only shot the ball 9 times. Just kind of sat around, didn't do a whole lot. The game against Boston was really aggressive. Shot the ball 17 times. Same with Houston, right? So he goes in phases of, like, being great and being kind of bad. So it's a tough, he's a tough player to predict. The upside's obviously high, and it's a really good spot here against Washington. I think he goes a bit lower owned because of the recency bias. On a two-game slate, again, everyone's been playing a two-game slate. So is he my favorite play of the day? No, he's not. But I think that the ownership will be pretty low and the matchup's pretty good. And if you get lucky and you get the day where he's aggressive, then he could probably get you 60, maybe even 70 fantasy points. So take that in consideration. Again, I think he goes pretty low owned, maybe like 15% or so. Let's see. Porzingis at 6.9K is a pretty solid price tag. Now it's a tough spot here against the Clippers, but he's going to play mid-30s minutes if he stays out of foul trouble. And again, the price is, I think he's just a little too cheap. So I do like pricing him a decent amount. Montrezl Harrell, kind of the same thing. He had a huge game there against the Pelicans. He's playing big minutes too. Like, he's going to play 30 or so minutes in a close game. This is a pretty solid match for here against Dallas. I know, obviously Paul George and Kawhi and everyone being healthy does take a hit to him, but I still think he's very much playable here at 6.7K. Thomas Bryant is, I think, more of a risky play here, 5.8K, because the minutes are up and down with him, right? If Mo Wagner's playing well, they'll give the minutes to Mo. If Thomas Bryant's playing well, they'll give the minutes to Thomas Bryant. So very up and down. Denver does run big. The price is okay, but my whole thing is, are you going to play Thomas Bryant over Porzingis and Montrezl Harrell for a little bit more? I'm probably going to say no. Like I would prefer Porzingis and I would prefer Harrell to Thomas Bryant, but that's just me. Paul Millsap at 5.4K he's at a playable price for sure. I think he probably gets 25-ish to 30 minutes. It's a good spot. He's been really consistent. 37, 31, 32, 31, 39, 29, 34, 30 fantasy points. If you want a really safe option, I think that's Paul Millsap with a little bit of upside, right? I think on a good night, he can get you 35 to 40. And at this price, it makes him very much in play. So, yeah, no issue there with Paul Millsap. Mo Wagner, kind of my same analysis with Thomas Bryant. It's just you don't know what the minutes are going to be like. If he hits that high end of the minutes, like mid-20s, he could definitely crush that salary. But, back-to-back games, only 14 to 19 minutes, it's tricky. So that is the downside with guys like Mo Wagner and Thomas Bryant. You just don't know what the minutes are going to be like. Now, Dwight Powell at 4K has been really bad, like really, really bad this season. But there's not a whole lot of value in the slate. And right now, we got Maxi Kleber listed as questionable. So if Maxi Kleber misses, that's about, averaging about 20 or so minutes a game. They got to go somewhere. And, I think probably a few extra minutes goes to a guy like Dwight Powell. And I know he's been super bad, but there's not a whole lot of value play. So I would consider him if Maxi Kleber misses. If Maxi Kleber plays, probably be a stay away. Now, Zubac, I do like a good amount too at 3.9K. Again, the slate, there's not a whole lot of value plays in this two-game slate. Zubac's a guy that's not going to play huge minutes, probably 15 to 20, but we know he's always, pretty productive when he's out there. So, again, a slate that lacks value. I think Zubac's a pretty solid value play here at 3.9K. One of my favorites for sure. Mason Plumlee's interesting here at 3.8K. Probably not going to play more than 15 or so minutes, but he can definitely get you in that time, right? It's a good matchup here against Washington, too. So Plumlee, very much in play. And maybe the game blows out, he gets a little extra run, or Jokic gets in foul trouble. We've seen Jokic get in foul trouble a decent amount this season. So very much considering Mason Plumlee as well there at 3.8. Zubac and him, I think, are pretty solid value plays. Jeremy Grant at 3.7. The Mets have been around 20. He's getting a little bit more minutes, but he's a little bit less productive. Don't hate Jeremy Grant. I think I would slightly prefer Mason Plumlee, but it is close. Again, you got to consider these guys in a two-game slate, so I'm going to be going more in-depth in these cheaper guys than I normally do because, again, there's only two games. So Maxi Kleber, again, if he plays, probably would be off Powell. Boban at 3.3K, he usually only plays in garbage time, but, if Kleber misses, I think there's a shot maybe he gets a few minutes. And at 3.3K, if your guy's making multiple lineups, you maybe throw him in there one or two. You know what I'm saying? So, again, he usually only plays in garbage time, but, maybe he gets a little bit of run if Maxi Kleber does miss. Patrick Patterson, I can't do that. What if he's not even playing any minutes. Kabengele will only play in a blowout. So, yeah, that's really it for centers. Let's move on to power forward. So at the top is Paul George at 8.2K. I like the price here. Him and Kawhi's price have gone down a bit. And in a close game, he's going to play mid-30s minutes. Now, and that game blew out against New Orleans. He only played 31 minutes. Still got 37 fantasy points. So there's not a whole lot of downside to Paul George at that price at 8.2K. Bertans has been really good recently. 5.2K. He's going to play close to 30 minutes, and this is a bad spot, but if you want to continue to ride that hot streak, I don't hate it. Now, am I going to play him? Probably not, but I get it if you want to take a shot there. Hashimura at 4.5, it's just the minutes are down to him. They're comfortable giving minutes to Bertans, Mo Wagner. I don't think I can do it there at 4.5. Dorian Finney-Smith, it's kind of gross, but he's been decent recently. Right? 37, 13, 20, 32 fantasy points at 4.4K. I think he's at least worth considering there. He's not a guy that normally has a lot of upside, but I think he's worth considering. Now, Would I play him over, Zubac or Plumlee? I don't know. It's a close call. I think I like the upside a bit more in Plumlee and Zubac, even though we're going to play less minutes. But don't hate Dorian Finney-Smith either. Mo Harkless at 3.5. I guess you can go there. Again, I'm going to prefer probably Plumlee and Zubac to him, just because he's a very, very low usage guy playing around all those high usage guys in the offense. If you play Harkless, you got to hope he knocks down a couple corner threes. JaMychal Green at 3.4. The minutes have been down on him, but I actually don't hate it. Probably not going to get more than 20 minutes, but he is a guy that probably can get you 15 to 20 in that time. So again, we got to consider guys like this on this 2-game slate. So JaMychal Green, I think, is very much playable there. Justin Jackson at 3.2K. Yeah, it's just not enough minutes right now for me to consider him. Again, he got minutes there in those games because of the blowout. So don't think we even consider him here. Hernan Gomez at 3.1. The minutes have kind of been all over the place for the second unit of Denver, so it's really tough to predict. Again, kind of like Michael Porter Jr., it's just they're not getting enough run, I think, to consider them. But that's really it for power forward. So let's move on to small forward. Again, Kawhi and Paul George at the top. So it's a close call now. In that last game, Kawhi was 1,500 more than Paul George. I preferred Paul George. Now they're close. I might slightly prefer Kawhi here. I think he has a little bit more upside than Paul George in my opinion. But they're both, great plays here at 8.2 and 8.8K. Will Barton at 6.1. It's a really good spot for these Denver starters, and he's been pretty good this year. He's going to play low to mid-30s minutes in a close game. I think he goes a bit forgotten about on the slate because I think a lot of people will try to get Paul George, Kawhi, Kristaps, Montrezl, guys like that in their lineup. So a guy like Will Barton in a good spot, I think goes maybe a little bit lower owned. But I don't hate him there. Hardaway Jr. had a really good game that last game, played 38 minutes, 49 fantasy points. He was just on fire. Rick Carlisle said he's going to remain in the starting lineup. Now, let's be clear. He's not going to get 49 fantasy points again. But if he's going to start and play 30 or so minutes at 5K, he's viable. Now, he's very scoring dependent, so this is kind of a boomer bust play. But if he's shooting well, again, we know the upside's there. So another guy that's very much consideration there at 5K, and we know the upside is pretty high on him. Troy Brown at 3.5K. The minutes have been down on him, 24, 20, 20, and 15 minutes. Shot about 0 of 6. It was really bad. If you want to buy low, I guess I don't hate it. He's probably going to be sub 5% owned. But I think I'd prefer value guys like JaMychal Green, like Mason Plumlee, like Avicii Zubac to him. Again, the secondary, the guys off the bench for Denver, it's just the minutes are all over the place. No one's playing huge minutes. CJ Miles at 3.1K. Again, not getting enough minutes. Courtney Lee, I almost puked saying that name. Magruder, his minutes, yeah, if you play a guy like this, you got to just hope he hits those corner threes. I think I would just prefer, again, JaMychal Green, Plumlee, and Zubac to him. But that's really it for small forward. So let's move on to shooting guard. So at the top is Luka. The big question on the slate is, are you going to play 11.4K for Luka in a really tough spot? It's up to you. He has been amazing this year. So I think you could go either way. There's a lot of solid mid-tier plays, right? We got Kawhi Leonard. We got Paul George. We got Kristaps. We got Montrezl Harrell. So you can very much make a mid-tier build and I think be comfortable with it. Or you could go Luka and take some shots in those cheaper guys, right? So I don't hate either way. Again, I think both options are very viable, and you got to take risk on a 2-game slate. So Luka, I think actually might go a bit lower owned. I know he's been really good, but yeah, it's a tougher spot, right, against probably Kawhi or Paul George defense, wherever they throw on him. They're gonna try to stop Luka, but Luka's been amazing. So again, you can go with the mid-tier build, or you can go with Luka and more of a stars and scrubs approach. Don't have a strong lean either way. Again, Luka has been amazing. If you want to continue to ride that hot streak, you definitely can. Now, Brad Beal is an intriguing contrarian spend up here. He's going to go probably under 10% owned, maybe even less than that at 9.3K. It's a tough spot, but if Washington's going to keep this close, Beal's going to play 40 minutes and probably going to shoot the ball 20 plus times. and the price has come down on him. So if I'm a one lineup guy, am I playing Brad Beal? No. But again, if you take ownership in consideration, I think Beal goes super low owned. I think Jokic goes low owned. So just take that with what you will. Jamal Murray at 7.4K has been really good in, 4 straight games, basically. 67, 35, 40, 39 fantasy points. He is a guy that we know the upside is high. So don't hate the idea of going here at 7.4K. It's a really good spot, and he's been playing really well. My thing is, are you going to play Jamal Murray over like Paul George and Kawhi for a little bit more? That's tough, but it's a pretty good spot. And if Washington keeps it close, I think Jamal Murray could have a pretty big game. Lou Williams, I think, is an interesting buy low here at 6.3K. Had a somewhat down game, right? Only played 25 minutes against the Pelicans. The game did blow out there. Did blow out, though. Before that, 34, 37, 32 minutes. So I think in a close game, he plays into the 30s. And at 6.3K, this is a pretty cheap price tag. And we know the upside is pretty high in Lou. I know there's a lot of mouths to feed, but I still think he can get you there at this price. So very much considering Lou Williams as a contrarian, mid-tier play. Again, Hardaway Jr. going to stay in the starting lineup. He's very up and down. If he's knocking down shots, he can crush that price tag. Pat Beverly at 4.7K is another player that I think is very much in play here. He got in foul trouble that game against Houston. That's why he only played 19 minutes. I wouldn't be too worried about that. In a close game, he's going to play mid-30s minutes, and he's a guy that will fill up the stat sheet, doesn't necessarily have to score to get you there. And again, a slate that kind of lacks value plays. I think Patrick Beverly is pretty solid. Gary Harris, again, he's been super bad this year, but he's going to play mid-30s minutes, and it's a good spot. I think he goes really low owned. If he knocks down a few threes, he can probably get you there. So another guy that I think is in play. DeLon Wright at 4.1K, going to play like 20 or so minutes. I guess he's okay, not my favorite play. McRae at 3.6K. He's played 20 and 24 minutes in back-to-back games. They've been, the minutes are going up on him. So I don't hate the idea of going here. I think we probably get more of the same, like around 20-ish minutes, and he's been pretty solid. So another value guy that I think is in play. Again, if you want the contrarian to Jordan McRae is Troy Brown, just because Troy Brown has been really bad, and I think a lot of people go McRae over Troy Brown. But if you want to take ownership, I don't hate the idea of going Troy Brown. Brunson at 3.3K, I think, only played 3 minutes. Looks like they're pretty happy giving Hardaway some decent minutes. Seth Curry at 3.3K, played 15 minutes. It's on the verge of like a dart throw play. Is there anything else even down here? No. So that's really it for shooting guard. Let's move on to point guard. Point guard we got. We're going to talk about a lot of these guys. Actually, almost all these guys. Besides the Washington point guard. So Isaiah Thomas at 4.6K. I think it's actually a pretty solid play. He's going to play 25, maybe 30 minutes in a close game. I know it's a tough spot, but at 4.6K, he does have, he can get you like 30 to 35 fantasy points if he's knocking down a shot. So I think he's very much in play as a cheap option. Ish Smith, if you want to go there off the bench, don't hate it either. He's been pretty solid. I'm personally going to lean towards Isaiah, but if you want to go Ish, again, I think he's playable. Monte Morris, if you want to take a stand and say like Denver blows him out, I think he could get like 15 to 20 minutes in a blowout. So that's a value guy, I guess, that's playable as well. But that's really it. Again, like JJ Barea has not been playing. He's only been playing in blowouts. Isaac Bamba, I think, is out of the rotation. Yep, he is. So I think that is it. So let's talk about some roster construction, right? So there's a lot of really solid guys in the mid-range. So let's just go over the top guys first. So Luka, I think it goes, I can't tell what his ownership's going to be, right? He's been amazing, but there's not a whole lot of like great value plays. So I'm a little torn in what I think his ownership's going to be. I think Jokic and Beal go pretty low owned because of recency bias, but again, it's a 2-game slate. They're playable. The guys in the mid-range seem pretty safe here, like Kawhi, Paul George, Porzingis, Harrell, Lou Williams. Those guys all seem pretty solid. And you can make a lineup with like all 5 of those guys, right? Like you can do a Kawhi. I'll do it right now. Kawhi, Paul George, Lou Williams, Kristaps, and Montrezl Harrell. I know it's kind of a game stack, right? You got everyone in that game, but you still got 4.3K remaining. So then you can play some value guys, or you could build a lineup with Luka at the top, and then play. You would probably have to play a couple of those cheap guys. So either way, don't mind it. Again, I think Beal and Jokic are the spend ups that I think go pretty low owned. Don't hate the idea of taking shots there at probably sub 10% ownership for both those guys. And then let's see, like Millsap in the mid range, I think is a pretty solid play. Don't kind of like Will Barton as well, Isaiah Thomas, Pat Beverly, and then the really cheap options you got like possibly Powell if Maxi Kleber misses, Zubac, Mason Plumlee, even Jordan McRae, JaMychal Green. Those are kind of the options I'm looking at. So I think that's going to do it for today's video, guys. Unfortunately, I will not be able to live stream for this 2-game slate. I'm actually going to be heading home to Michigan for Thanksgiving, so I'll be on the train ride home. We'll not be able to live stream, but yeah, I guess I could tweet out my player pool. I mean, it is only a 2-game slate, so I don't think that would help too much. Yeah, like I said, I think that's going to do it for today's video. So if you have been enjoying the content, would really appreciate it if you like this video and subscribe. Again, if you want to get entered in the giveaway, all you do is leave a like and a comment in the video. That's one entry in the giveaway. I will be back for another video to break down the huge Wednesday NBA slate. I will be live streaming for that one. So thanks again for coming and check out the video, guys, and I will see you later.